Imagine holding a simple 5-cent coin from 1971 in your hand and realizing that this tiny piece of metal could potentially change your financial situation. Most people pass over these coins without a second thought. But what if I told you that certain versions of the 1971 Liberty nickel have been fetching surprising prices across online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and private collectors networks? After the intro, I mentioned that if you own one of these coins, it might just turn the tables for you. So make sure you stick around until the end of the video, because that's where I'll reveal how much this coin can really be worth and how you can go about selling it. The 1971 Liberty nickel, often simply referred to as the Jefferson nickel of that year, may not appear extraordinary at first glance. Millions were minted, and they circulated heavily in the United States throughout the 70s and beyond. However, collectors know that the real value of any coin lies not in how many were made, but in the condition, the rarity of certain mint marks, and the unique errors that sometimes occur during production. For example, coins struck in San Francisco with the S mint mark, or those with double die errors and full step details on Monticello. Are the ones that truly stand out among collectors. Over the years, coins from 1971 have found their way into eBay listings with prices ranging from just a few dollars to several hundred, depending on the grade and certification. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have given high-grade 1971 nickels top-tier recognition, with some even climbing in value at auctions. Collectors especially look for nickels with sharp details on Monticello steps, a feature that becomes a major price driver. Beyond eBay, other online platforms and auction houses have shown similar results. Heritage Auctions, for instance, has recorded sales where pristine examples of the 1971 nickel commanded far more than expected. The reason is clear: serious numismatists are always on the lookout for rare die varieties, unusual minting errors, and uncirculated coins with original luster. It's also important to mention that international buyers often contribute to these sales. While a 1971 nickel may not seem too special in the US, collectors abroad sometimes pay a premium to add it to their world coin collections. This global demand adds yet another layer of value to what seems like an ordinary piece of change. So if you have a Liberty 5-cent 1971 coin, don't dismiss it as just another nickel. Its true worth could surprise you, especially if yours happens to be in mint state or has an error that others are eager to add to their collection. Remember, the condition, the grading, and the mint mark can make all the difference in turning a simple 5-cent piece into a collector's treasure, a small coin in your pocket change, something so ordinary that you barely give it a second glance, yet it holds the power to surprise you with its hidden value. The 1985 Liberty 5-1 coin is one of those pieces that collectors and sellers alike have been watching closely. After the intro, if you have this coin, it might turn the tables for you. So stick around until the end of the video, because I will reveal not just how much it is worth. The 5-1 coin belongs to the Jefferson nickel series, a design that has been in circulation since 1938. It features the profile of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, and on the reverse, America's values of leadership, heritage, and architecture, all embodied in a coin worth just 5 cents at face value. The year 1985 was not one of those groundbreaking years in coinage history, but what makes coins from this period interesting is the sheer volume minted. Philadelphia and Denver struck millions of these nickels, while San Francisco produced proof versions for collectors. Even though they were common at the time, finding high-quality examples today, especially in uncirculated or proof condition, has become more challenging. Collectors often focus on condition, mint mark, and unique errors when valuing the 1985 nickel. The Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark. Denver coins show a small D, and San Francisco proof coins bear an S. Each mint mark tells a slightly different story, and values can differ depending on rarity and high grades. Over time, most 1985 nickels have circulated heavily, leading to wear and tear, but uncirculated examples with original mint luster are far more desirable, especially those graded by services like PCGS or NGC. Some proof versions still retain their mirror-like shine, making them highly collectible. Error coins from 1985 add another exciting layer of value. These include off-center strikes, double dies, or planchette flaws. Errors are rare by nature, and collectors will often pay a premium to own one, especially if it is dramatic and well-preserved. Now let's talk about actual worth. On eBay, circulated 1985 nickels often sell for very little, sometimes just above face value. But don't let that fool you. Uncirculated examples in mint state can sell for several dollars to even higher amounts depending on grade. Proof coins, especially those graded PR69 or PR70, can sell for much more, often in the tens of dollars or higher. Auctions and other online platforms like Heritage and Great Collections show that certain pristine examples and rare errors can fetch impressive prices. Some collectors are willing to pay over $100 or more for the best preserved coins. It's proof that condition is everything when it comes to modern nickels like the 1985 issue. What keeps interest in this coin alive is its accessibility. 1932 Liberty Wheat Penny with SEO-rich storytelling, auction insights, and a hook that keeps viewers engaged until the end. It avoids headings, lists, or visual cues, and flows naturally for narration. Today we are diving into the fascinating and mysterious journey of the 1932 Liberty Wheat Penny. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary old cent, but hidden beneath its worn copper surface lies a history that is nothing short of extraordinary. This coin has been known to surprise collectors and investors alike, and if you happen to own one, it might just turn the tables for you. Stick around until the end of the video because I will share how much it is worth today according to eBay listings, other online platforms, and even rare coin auctions, along with how you can sell them for the best return. But remember, I want you to comment the price in the comment box, and I will tell you not only its value but also the step-by-step process to sell it. The story of the 1932 Liberty Wheat Penny begins during a pivotal time in American history. The country was in the middle of the Great Depression, an economic crisis that had swept through every town and city in the United States. Families struggled to make ends meet, jobs were scarce, and even the smallest coin in your pocket held real power. A single penny could mean a loaf of bread or a ride on the streetcar. So when the 1932 wheat penny was struck, it carried with it not only copper and design but also the weight of survival and hope. The design of the coin itself speaks to America's ideals. On the obverse we find the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of strength and leadership during times of national hardship. This design had been first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth, and by 1932 it had already become a familiar emblem of resilience. Around Lincoln's portrait are the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1932. Each of these inscriptions carried meaning during an era when trust, liberty, and faith were tested daily by the realities of the Depression. On the reverse of the coin lies the iconic wheat years framing the words 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum. These simple wheat stalks became the symbol of productivity, agriculture, and the backbone of America. It was a design that resonated with a country still deeply tied to the land and its harvests. The wheat cent was a coin that visually connected the labor of farmers with the pockets of workers in the city, a link between field and factory, survival and sacrifice. What makes the 1932 wheat penny even more interesting is its rarity. During this year, coin production at the mints was drastically reduced due to the economic collapse. Demand for new coins was low because money wasn't moving as fast. People were saving every cent they had, and the government chose to strike fewer coins. 1968 sitting in your drawer. Something you might think is just ordinary change. But what if I told you that this coin could actually change your fortune? The Liberty 5-cent coin from 1968 has a history, a story, and a market value that might surprise you. If you have one, it might just turn the tables for you. Stay with me until the end, because I'll reveal how much it's worth according to eBay, other online platforms, and even auction houses. Plus, I'll guide you on how you can sell it. And at the very end, I'll tell you exactly how you can find its true price and the selling procedure. So stick around. The Liberty nickel, more commonly known as the Jefferson nickel by 1968, carried forward a legacy that started back in 1938 when it replaced the Buffalo nickel, designed by Felix Schlag. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. On the reverse is Jefferson's home, Monticello, an architectural masterpiece that remains one of America's most iconic symbols. 1968, the United States Mint was undergoing changes. The Coinage Act of 1965 had eliminated silver from dimes and quarters. and nickels continued to be struck from their long-standing alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. That makes the 1968 nickel not just a coin, but a snapshot of American economic policy during a turbulent period. What makes the 1968 issue particularly interesting is that it was one of the first years when the San Francisco Mint began striking proof nickels again after a brief hiatus. So, you'll find not only the regular circulation strikes from Philadelphia and Denver but also proof coins from San Francisco. Each variety carries a different level of collectability and value. The Philadelphia Mint coins carry no mint mark, Denver coins carry a D mint mark, and San Francisco issues carry an S mint mark. Proof coins from San Francisco are especially attractive to collectors because of their mirror-like finish and low mintages compared to circulation coins. As everyday money, the 1968 Liberty 5-cent coin passed through countless hands during an era marked by the Vietnam War, civil rights movements, and cultural shifts across America. That's why holding one today feels like holding a piece of American history frozen in time. Now when it comes to value, condition and mint mark make all the difference. A heavily circulated 1968 nickel might only be worth its face value or slightly more on eBay and similar platforms. These sell for around 25 cents to $1 in average condition, but coins in uncirculated or mint state condition can fetch significantly higher amounts. For example, a 1968 D nickel in brilliant uncirculated condition can bring anywhere from $10 to $30, depending on its grade. A 1968 S-proof nickel, especially in deep cameo condition, can sell for $50 or more. In rare cases, coins with exceptional. Welcome back to the coin world, where rare coins and their fascinating stories come to life. Today we are diving into the history and value of the Liberty Wheat Penny from 1940, a coin that may look simple at first glance but carries decades of history, heritage, and in some cases, serious value. If you own one of these, it just might turn the tables for you. Stick around until the very end because I'll share exactly how you can sell this coin, where collectors are buying, and the surprising prices it has been fetching online. The Wheat Penny has long been a beloved series among coin collectors. Minted between 1909 and 1958, the Lincoln Wheat Cent was designed by Victor David Brenner and introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person instead of a symbolic figure. That alone makes the Wheat Penny a piece of history that stands out in the world of American numismatics. The 1940 Wheat Penny was minted during an important time in American history. The world was on the brink of World War II, and while the United States had not yet entered the conflict, the political climate was tense. Millions of these coins circulated in everyday commerce, carrying the image of Lincoln on one side and to wheat stalks on the other, symbolizing prosperity and growth during uncertain times. For ordinary citizens, this penny represented not just currency, but resilience. Now, the 1940 penny was struck in huge numbers. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 586 million of them, while the Denver Mint added more than 81 million with the small D mint mark, and San Francisco contributed over 112 million with the S mint mark. That means in total, more than 780 million wheat pennies entered circulation in 1940. Because of that, a regular circulated example is often worth just a few cents to a couple of dollars. But what makes this coin fascinating is the variation in condition, mint marks, and rare errors that can dramatically raise its value. Collectors love this coin for its history, but they pay premiums for high-grade examples. A 1940 wheat penny in average circulated condition might only be worth around 10 to 50 cents, but an uncirculated one with strong luster and minimal marks can sell for $10 to $1.20. And when you reach the highest levels of grading, such as coins graded mint state 67 or higher, the price jumps into the hundreds and even thousands of dollars. These top-tier coins are rare survivors that avoided wear and damage for over 80 years, making them highly desirable to serious collectors. Errors and varieties also add another layer of excitement. For example, some 1940 wheat pennies show doubling on the obverse, where the letters or date look doubled due to a die error. Welcome back to the coins world, where today we explore a coin that might just change the way you see the pennies lying around in your drawers or tucked away in old jars. Imagine holding a simple 1-cent coin that looks ordinary, yet could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its type and condition. If you happen to have a 1942 Liberty wheat penny, it might just turn the tables for you. So stick around until the end of this video as we uncover not only its fascinating history, but also how collectors on platforms like eBay and in major auctions are valuing it today. And don't go anywhere, because at the end of this video, I'll reveal how you can find out the real price of your coin and the procedure to sell it, but only if you comment the price in the box below. The story of the 1942 wheat penny begins in a time of global upheaval. The United States was entering World War II, and every aspect of American life was influenced by the demands of the war effort. Money and coinage were no exception. The 1942 penny belongs to the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, first minted in 1909, to honor Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. By 1942, the wheat penny had already become one of the most recognized coins in American pockets. The coin was struck in huge numbers, but what makes the 1942 issue fascinating is the period it represents. These were some of the last pennies made from the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc before the government shifted to steel cents in 1943 to conserve copper for the war. That means the 1942 penny captures the final chapter of an era before coinage materials drastically changed. On the obverse, we see the timeless profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His portrait symbolizes unity and leadership, something the country needed deeply in wartime. On the reverse, the simple wheat stalks frame the denomination, reminding Americans of agriculture growth and stability. This design, which gives the coin its name, is among the most beloved in American numismatic history. What adds to the charm of the 1942 wheat penny is that it comes in several varieties depending on where it was minted. Philadelphia struck the coin without a mint mark, Denver coins carry a D mark, and San Francisco issues have the S mark. Each minting location has different survival rates and levels of rarity, with some varieties fetching higher values at auctions. Collectors today treasure these coins because they are not just small pieces of change but tangible links to one of the most important moments in modern history. During 1942, the United States was fully mobilizing for war. Materials like copper were vital for shell casings, wiring, and equipment. Every penny counted, literally and figuratively, making these coins a symbol of resilience. Now let's talk about value, because that's where things get really interesting. On eBay, 1942 wheat pennies, families, and promises of peace. But rationing was still fresh, and resources were tight. In this environment, the U.S. Mint resumed full coin production, including the iconic Lincoln wheat penny, which had been in circulation since 1909. The 1946 penny was the first in years to return to traditional copper, as the wartime steel cents of 1943 and zinc-plated issues of 1944 and 1945 had come to an end. The result was a coin that represented a return to normalcy and, for collectors, the beginning of something more. The Liberty wheat penny design is simple yet iconic, and it remained unchanged from 1909 to 1958, though none are rare. By mintage alone, value comes from something far more elusive: preservation, strike quality, and errors. This composition returned in 1946 after wartime changes. Unlike the steel pennies of 1943, the 1/9 cent was once again warm and reddish-brown, a return to normal in both feel and form. Most 1946 wheat pennies are worth 1 to 5 cents in circulated condition, but a small number are worth hundreds, even thousands of US dollars. Only a few dozen examples in the world have been graded this high, and when collectors fight over these top specimens, prices soar. Minting errors can transform a common coin into a numismatic marvel. For 1946, some of the most valuable errors include doubled die obverse DDO. Prices range from $100 to $2,000, depending on severity and condition. If the design is shifted significantly, it can be worth $150 to $500 plus a chunk missing from the rim can boost value to $200, $800, especially seen on 1960 or 1946. S pennies. 1946 wheat penny graded MS67 brown may sell for $300. The same coin in MS67 red could command over $5,000. The color matters, and it matters a lot. 1946 SMS or unique trait can be worth real money, though it's not one of the key dates in the series. The 1946 Liberty Wheat penny represents more than face value. It marks the return to post-war, normal-sized continuation of the beloved wheat cent tradition. A turning point between wartime scare carries the legacy of the United States economic recovery and the dawn of a new era. To understand its importance, we must first look back to the Wheat Penny series, which began in 1909 under the direction of President Theodore Roosevelt. He commissioned sculptor Victor David Brenner to redesign the penny. Brenner's design honored Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, and to wheat stalks on the reverse, representing prosperity. By 1950, the wheat penny had been circulating for over 40 years. The United States was undergoing immense transformation. The post-war baby boom was in full swing, and the economy was thriving. Millions of pennies were produced to meet the needs of a growing population. There were 3 mints producing the 1950 wheat penny. Although these numbers seem high, it's the quality and condition of the coin, and the presence of any error that greatly influence its collector value today. The design of the 1950 penny is timeless. On the obverse, we see a bust of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. The words "In God We Trust" arc above his head. Liberty is positioned on the left, and the date 1950 lies on the right. If minted in Denver or San Francisco, a small D or S will appear just below the date. The reverse features the iconic wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top. Now let's talk about errors and varieties, which can greatly increase a coin's worth. One of the most sought-after error types is the double die obverse. Though rare for 1950, some coins exhibit noticeable doubling in the inscriptions, especially around Liberty and the date. These are extremely valuable. Pristine 1950 wheat penny in mint state, MS65 or higher, especially with a red road designation, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the mint and any errors. For example, a 1950s penny graded MS67 road sold for over $7,000 at auction. The historical backdrop also adds to its charm. In 1950, the Korean War had just begun. The Cold War tensions were rising. Americans were investing in infrastructure, education, and industry. It was a year of contrast of both hope and fear. The penny in your pocket reflected not just economic exchange, but cultural transition. Collectors today often seek out the 1950 Liberty wheat penny not only for its potential value but for its nostalgic connection to mid-century America. It represents a time when pennies could still buy a piece of candy or a gumball. It was the currency of soda fountains, drive-ins, and jukeboxes. Over the decades, many of these pennies have disappeared from circulation, either worn out or hoarded by collectors. The 1966 Jefferson nickel has sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The obverse shows Thomas Jefferson facing left, along the rim, "In God We Trust," the word Liberty and the date, 1966. On the reverse stands Monticello, Jefferson's iconic Virginia estate. Above it, E pluribus unum beneath United States of America and 5 cents. The coin is 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 5 grams with a plain edge and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. At first glance, nothing seems remarkable, but look deeper and the value becomes clear. 1966 was part of a strange period in U.S. mint history. From 1965 to 1967, the U.S. government temporarily eliminated mint marks from coins. This was to discourage the hoarding of coins from specific mints during a national coin shortage. So, whether the coin was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, there's no way to tell from the coin itself. This decision made all coins from those years appear more uniform, but it also created an environment where minor differences in strike quality or errors became even more valuable. The U.S. Mint struck over 156 million nickels in 1966. That's a big number. But most of those coins went into circulation, suffered wear, and were forgotten. Very few were saved in pristine, uncirculated condition. Even fewer were struck well enough to reveal full design features, especially the steps of Monticello, which became the most important feature for collectors. If the steps of Monticello, those thin, horizontal lines at the base of the building, are struck clearly and without interruption, the coin qualifies for a full steps. If 66 Jefferson nickel with full steps can sell for $1 of rarity, Demand is high, and supply is shockingly low. Even though mint marks were removed in 1966, errors still happen and collectors prize them. Some of the most valuable 1966 nickel errors include off-center strikes, coins struck away from the center. The more off-center, the rarer it becomes. Values range from $150 to $500 plus. Double-die errors, coins with doubling in the lettering or date. These are harder to find but can fetch $1,000 or more. Clipped blankets coins. Every error has its own market, and every verified mistake tells the story of a unique minting moment. Silver had just been removed from dimes and quarters, and the U.S. Mint's removal of mint marks made collecting less exciting. Nickels